Here we're going to look at a way that you can use crochet to reinforce the neckline of a superwash sweater. I say superwash because that yarn is typically more stretchy, and over time this can sometimes stretch out your neckline. In order to reinforce this here, you can take your same yarn from your project and a crochet hook and just go through your fabric directly underneath the ribbing at the neckline. And I've pulled through a loop just to get started, and we're going to create slip stitches underneath each stitch around the ribbed neckline. So I've inserted my hook to the back of my fabric, grabbed a loop of the working yarn and pulled that through my first loop, and then you saw I just tugged that tail to snug this up. But I'm just going to keep doing that all the way around under each stitch in my ribbing above. So just go through to the back of the fabric, grab a loop of yarn, pull it through the fabric and then through the loop that's on your crochet hook. And again, that's called a slipped stitch. If you haven't crocheted before, you can look up tutorials for that if this isn't in-depth enough for you. But it's as easy as that. You're going to just do this all the way around underneath the neckline, and this will help reinforce it so that it doesn't stretch out over time. And a lot of people struggle with a stretching neckline when using superwash yarns because those yarns are very elastic and they don't have a lot of memory, so they don't bounce back to where they started if you wear them and the weight of the sweater starts to pull down on the yarn. So a very common problem, but this is one way that you can fix that. And I've made it all the way around now, and you can see I finish up by going through a couple of stitches that I'd made previously in that slip stitch chain, and after about 2 of those I will cut the tail of yarn and pull that all the way through. And I'm just going to secure that last stitch by taking my tapestry needle and threading this tail of yarn back through the next stitch. So that's going to make that stitch lay flat, and then on the back side I'm just going to weave in my ends just like I do with my knitting, just making sure that that's secure so that chain stays in place. And then I'll weave in the end that I started with as well. But there you go, that creates a chain that's much less flexible than the rest of my knitting, and that'll reinforce that neckline.